Alright, so this is the next part, putting the new 2-into-1 exhaust system on. I've got all of my pieces from my Mac exhaust, which is the header pipes that go into the splitter, and then the main exhaust pipe that goes out. They actually go together like this, and then we'll go right up into the motor on this side, and then that leads out to the exhaust. And what I did is I actually ditched the chrome exhaust tip that came with this. It was really big and ugly and didn't really match like the sleek cafe look that I wanted to go for, so I picked up this really cool Emgo cone, and it's going to fit actually inside of the pipe here, which normally this is meant to fit on the outside with the cut. So one of the things that I have to do is I actually got to take a cutting wheel and just cut a slit in here to allow for the clamp that's going to go around here to squeeze that together a little bit over the Emgo. Now I've already stuck the muffler in there once before, and it fits really tight, and the clamp will probably hold it together, but I'm just going to put a little slit in there anyway, just to make sure that it's really tight and fits nicely. So I've got a bunch of clamps that came with the kit. I actually had to order an even bigger clamp here to go around the muffler there, and then got some new hardware for the actual header connection, because a lot of those bolts are rusted out. And then I also took time and polished these flanges here that actually hold the exhaust into the front of the motor. So these were really grimy and dirty, very similar to how the motor looked before. I just took a small Dremel tool and polished those all up so they look super nice. And these will actually slip over the new exhaust and hold it in place. The kit also came with these sleeves too, and these sleeves actually pop right in to the flange and hold the new exhaust in place. So pretty cool, all brand new stuff. And again, the way it's going to look is the exhaust is going to come out here. It's going to connect together underneath, go actually through here between the brake lever and the footrest, come up, and then the muffler will actually bend up a little bit and come up this way. So it's going to be interesting. Got to figure out the geometry, got to move stuff around when putting it together, but I'm going to start to assemble that now. So I used my Dremel, just a Dremel cutting wheel, just to cut a little slit there. There was already a hole right there anyway, so I cut about a little over an inch long slit, just enough to clamp together to give some extra tightness to the clamp when the Emgo slips into the exhaust. Then I also put in the other header pipe, and that just slips right in here with the clamp. It's all loose right now, so that way I can make sure it all fits properly. It does this V shape coming out of the front of the motor. So now that this is set, I'm going to put the flanges on and the sleeves and then attach it to the front of the motor. Alright, the exhaust is on and it looks awesome. So just a second ago I showed how I put in the top pipes, or the header pipes. So I put those in, put the flanges on, tightened them down, got my new bolt in up here, and my new nut on the old post end down there. So little pieces of new hardware on both sides. Those both come down, meet there in the middle. Got the one clamp here that's holding on the left side header pipe coming out. It actually sits kind of touching, there's a little bit of space there underneath the motor. Swoops out, back up to the right side, and then underneath the passenger peg, and then that's where the nice Emgo exhaust tip is on, and that looks really nice, very aggressive, exactly the look I was hoping for, and it's not too long too, kind of stops right before the axle, just kind of covering where the bottom of the lower shock mount bolt is. So if I need to get at that, it might be a little difficult, but shouldn't have to remove those anytime soon. They're brand new. So it came back up, and then there's a big metal clamp here. As I showed, I cut that slit. This is actually on the back. I cut that slit to allow the muffler to actually slip inside of the pipe, and then just tighten the hell out of this. Got this facing down so I have easy access to it on both sides. And underneath there is the bolt for the the brake itself, so I wanted to make sure there was enough room between the two of those to be able to get in there and adjust stuff. I was thinking about actually flipping this further up, but then if it did, it'd be blocking this, so it's just kind of, I don't know, just kind of made more sense to leave it facing down. It's not terrible. Would have loved to have another black clamp like in the front, but the chrome will do. And then as far as hanging the muffler, what I did is I used the passenger peg spot, which is hopefully where I'll eventually be putting in the rear sets. But for now, I just used the passenger peg stock bolt that came with it, and then they supplied this bent bracket here, which actually was perfect. It allows for that bend down this way and creates enough gap between the mount here on the muffler and the swing arm. There's about not even quite a pinky width in there of space. It was actually even closer, so what I did is I stuck this washer in here, just a flat washer, to create a little bit more space and bring that a little bit further away. So now there's plenty of clearance for the swing arm to get by, even though it's close. But the exhaust is on there. If I grab this, it shakes the whole bike. It's in place, and it looks great. So the next thing would be to, once I do my first fire up here, show you guys how much better it sounds than stock. But the exhaust is done.